Greetings. So I read this book many years ago, and I'm looking at it again. It's called The Lost Books of the Bible, and I believe it was written by Roman Catholic people, because I find a lot of things that in that book upon which Roman Catholic people believe. Like, for instance, the story of the Immaculate Birth of Mary. Mary's parents could not have children, so Anna, that's Mary's mother's name supposedly, Anna gets pregnant by God, the Holy Spirit, and she conceives Mary, and it's the only child that Anna ever has. Mary, at a very early age, is then taken to the temple by her parents. Her parents abandon her. She's at the temple, and angels come and visit her daily and take care of her needs. She is there, and she's never allowed to go outside of the temple. Her life is mostly a fasting and prayer. She reaches the age of that she can get married, and her and other girls that are virgins that are there also in the temple are then told that they can leave, or that some men are going to come and choose them to be their wives. So men show up to the temple to pick a wife, and Mary being among those young girls. Joseph is one of the men that shows up, and supposedly he's a very, very, very old guy. And each one of these men has a staff or some kind of a rod, and they hold it, and the Holy Spirit in the form of a dove is supposed to land on one of the staffs, and somehow it lands on Joseph's staff, and then so he chooses Mary, and then they leave, and then you know the rest of the story. Mary gets pregnant by God and gives birth to Jesus, or to Yesu, and supposedly she never had any other children, and she remains a virgin until she died. And but what's even more hilarious is the story of the infancy of Christ, when Christ was a baby or a young child. Recently born, he's in the manger, or in the cradle, as this book mentions. So he's in the cradle, and the first words that he speaks are to his mother, and he says, "Hello, Mary, I am the Son of God." So that's the first thing. That's, I think, the first miracle that Jesus or Yesu does, is that he speaks. Another thing that the infant Yesu does is that people are being healed from their diseases, like blindness and other things that impair them. They ask for the baby's what's the word? The baby's swindling, and swindling is the clothing that the child or the baby is wrapped in. So supposedly there's healing power in the swindling, and people are healed when they are given the swindling that belonged to Jesus or to Yesu. Also, supposedly, according to this story, Yesu changes a man back into a human form. Supposedly this man was changed into a donkey by a witch. So the sister of this man goes to Christ or to the parents of Yesu and asks if they could change her brother back into a human form. And so somehow her brother is changed from a donkey back into a human. Also, there is the part where Christ gets mad at two boys and he murders them. And there's a lot of other miracles and things that he does as a baby and as an infant. And and people believe this, so I think it's a book that the Roman Catholics wrote because they believe that that Mary, the mother of Jesus or Yesu, is an all-powerful being, and so they worship Mary, and so they make up these stories about Christ as an infant to actually give him more power. And of course, according to the so-called Holy Bible, we know that Christ did not perform any miracles until he was a grown man in his early 30s perhaps. And his first miracle in the Bible is where he changes the water into wine at the wedding feast. But according to the lost books of the Bible, his first miracle was when he spoke to his mother and said, "Hi Mary, I'm the Son of God." And then the other things, that the other miracles that were performed by the infant's clothing. So that's it. Believe less and think more. Yahweh bless.